EPA 608 Type 1 Exam Questions and Answers 2026. Flashcard 1. Recovery equipment used for the service or repair of small appliances must be certified by an EPA-approved lab if the recovery equipment was made after. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is November 15, 1993. Flashcard 2. Recovery devices made before 11 minutes 15 minutes 93 and are used for recovery of refrigerant from small appliances must be capable of. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is recovering 80% of the refrigerant whether or not the compressor is operating or achieving a 4 inches vacuum under conditions of ARI 704 minutes 1993. Flashcard 3. EPA's definition of a small appliance includes. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a device manufactured, charges and hermetically sealed in factory with a charge of 5 pounds or less. Flashcard 4. Techs with the Type 1 small appliance certification are certified to recover refrigerant during the maintenance or repair of. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is TAC with 5 pounds or less of refrigerant. Flashcard 5. EPA requires that all small appliances be equipped with a service aperture or other device that is used when adding or removing refrigerant from the appliance. For small appliances, the service port typically. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a straight piece of tubing called a process tube that is entered using a piercing valve. Flashcard 6. The EPA Section 608 certification must be renewed every. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is never. Flashcard 7. It is an EPS regulation that any person who opens an appliance for maintenance, service, or repair must have at least one self-contained recovery machine available at their place of business. The only exception to this rule are persons working on. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is small appliances. Flashcard 8. The sale of CFC and HCFC refrigerants is. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is restricted to techs who are EPA certified in refrigerant recovery. Flashcard 9. Anyone who recovers refrigeration during maintenance, service, or repair of small appliances must be certified as either a universal tech or a. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is Type 1 Tech. Flashcard 10. When recovering refrigerant from a household refrigerator whose compressor does not run, it is recommended that a low and high side access valves be installed because. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is it can help speed of recovery and required recovery efficiency. Flashcard 11. If you install an access fitting into a sealed system, think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is the fitting should be leak tested before proceeding with recovery. Flashcard 12. Before beginning a refrigerant recovery procedure, it is always necessary to. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is determine the type of refrigerant in the system. Flashcard 13. When recovering refrigerant into a non-pressurized container from a refrigerator with an improper compressor, think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is it is necessary to heat and strike the compressor with a rubber mallet. Flashcard 14. When checking for the existence of non-condensable gases inside a recovery cylinder, why is it proper procedure to allow the temperature of the cylinder to stabilize at room temperature before taking a pressure reading? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is any comparisons to a pressure temperature chart is only valid if both the pressure and temperature of the refrigerant are stable. Flashcard 15. A recovery cylinder, which is 1/2 full of recovered R410A at 90*F, in the absence of non-condensables will be pressurized to. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 300 sig. Flashcard 16. When using blank, it is essential to take extra measures heating/striking to help release trapped refrigerant from the compressor oil. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is passive system-dependent recovery devices on a small appliance with a non-operating compressor. Flashcard 17. According to the EPA, which recovery equipment maintenance practices should be performed on a regular basis? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is check recovery device for refrigerant leaks. Flashcard 18. On a small appliance with an operating compressor that has a completely plugged capillary tube, what is the minimum number of access valves that are needed to evacuate the refrigerant? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is one valve on the high side. Flashcard 19. Which refrigerant is most commonly used as a replacement for R-12 inches new household refrigerators? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is R134A. Flashcard 20. Small amounts of refrigerant have no odor, therefore a pungent odor is detected during a system recovery and/or repair. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a compressor burnout has likely occurred. Flashcard 21. If R22 or R12 are exposed to high temperatures, these refrigerants can decompose to form. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is hydrochloric and hydrofluoric acids. Flashcard 22. Large spills of refrigerant can cause suffocation because. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is they are heavier than air and displace oxygen. Flashcard 23. In the event of a large release of R12 or R-22 inches of contained area, think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is you should wear a SCBA or leave the area as required. Flashcard 24. If a large leak of refrigerant occurs in an enclosed area 7, no self-contained breathing apparatus is available, then you should. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is vacate and ventilate the spill area. Flashcard 25. Portable refillable tanks or containers used to ship recovered refrigerants must meet what standards? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is Flashcard 26. Recovery or recycling equipment which was manufactured after 11 minutes 15 minutes 93 and is used to recover refrigerant from small appliances prior to the disposal of the small appliance must be used. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is recover 80% of the refrigerant if the compressor isn't working and 90% on one with a working compressor. Flashcard 27. EPA regulations require the capture of at least 80% of the refrigerant from a small appliance with a non-operating compressor as the tech is using. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is either type of recovery unit. Flashcard 28. A standard vacuum pump designed for evacuation and dehydration can. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is B. Only used as a recovery device in combination with a non-pressurized container. Flashcard 29. If you are recovering refrigerant from a frost-free refrigerator, you should. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is turn on the defrost heater to vaporize any trapped liquid. Flashcard 30. Solderless piercing valves should not remain installed on refrigeration systems after completion of repairs because. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is they can leak over time. Question 31. A refrigerant that can be used as a direct service drop-in substitute for R-12 inches a small appliance is. The correct answer is option E. Flashcard 32. When connecting your service manifold to check your system pressures, it is always a good idea to think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is use equipment such as hand valves or self-sealing hoses to minimize release. Flashcard 33. A recovery cylinder, which is 1/2 full of recovered R-22 at normal room temperature about 75, in the absence of non-condensables, will be pressurized to. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 75 sig. Flashcard 34. A passive system-dependent recovery device for small appliances. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is captures refrigerant in a non-pressurized container. Flashcard 35. When transporting refrigerants, the DOT regulation number 49 CFR requires blank to be recorded on the shipping papers for hazard class 2.2 non-flammable compressed gases. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is number of cylinders of each type of gas.